Hello and welcome to another video. So this video has kind of been prompted by a little afternoon out, or morning, I think it was actually morning out that I had the other day when my daughter was performing in a ballet show. She's only 4 and it was in her ballet class. We're putting on a show as part of a sort of family fundraising charity day at the local arts centre, and so we went along to this place and we saw the performance, which was great. Seeing all the kids there, and they were all quite a few of them a little bit nervous, but I think they all had a good time, and lots of proud mums and dads and aunts and uncles and grandparents and so on there to support them, which was wonderful. And the venue itself, this arts centre, is a place which used to be a glassworks. So there's a huge conical cone, well, glass cone it's called, which is this huge conical building. To be honest, I don't know much about how this works, but you've got lots of surrounding sort of factory buildings, and then this huge conical building, which I assume is where the glass itself was made. I don't really know much about the process of making glass, but it's all been sort of restored, and it's been converted into lots of little individual rooms that are available for artists to use to work from, and then this large conical building which was served the purpose of being a venue for the performance. And so a lot of these little studios, they're rented out, they're hired out. I think it's probably sort of subsidised a little bit by the local council as well. And there's lots of artists working in these studios. Painters, photographers, sculptors, you name it. There's probably somebody there, creating their work and selling it from these places. And I haven't been to this place for quite a long time, but upon going there, I remembered that many years ago, I had, when I was sort of starting out teaching guitar, I tried to find a place to rent that I could use as like a teaching studio. And I can remember going to this place, this art centre, and inquiring about renting a room. And I had to put an application in and all the rest of it. And my application eventually was denied because they said, sorry, we can't rent it out to you because you're a musician, and this is just for artists only, and you're not an artist. And I felt a little bit offended by that, because I thought, well, music is art. It's a form of art, so that seems a little bit unfair that you have to be a specific type of artist to be able to rent a room. And the reality of it is probably they didn't want somebody there that they thought was going to be making a lot of noise, disturbing people, and so on. And maybe there's particular funding that's set up to subsidise these kind of places, and that funding is very specific about the type of people that can use the venue and so on. So anyway, I was denied the opportunity to rent one of those studios for my music studio, and I didn't really think much about it until this going to watch this ballet show the other day. And it kind of sort of dawned on me how there are a lot of places, this kind of thing, especially around here. There are a lot of little art studios about where artists and creative people can, rent a little studio and set up their business, but they're not available for musicians. And then, sort of coincidentally, I came across a book called The Fear of Music, or Fear of Music, by David Stubbs, and he talks about why people, the general public or whatever, will accept sort of abstract or avant-garde art, but will be less visual art, but will be less accepting of a similar avant-garde or abstract whatever music, and so this kind of got me thinking a little bit. Is there some kind of separation or distinction between different types of art, you know, and I guess that's what I want to kind of talk about in this video today. So are some arts valued more than others? Do people perceive them differently? And you know, how does that affect us as modular synth musicians? Hey there, if you are enjoying these videos and you are enjoying the weird and wonderful world of modular synthesis, then please do consider hitting the subscribe button. It just lets the algorithm know that I'm not sat here muttering to myself in this room full of cables for no reason. And of course, if you would like to support the channel further, I do have a Patreon, link is in the description. There's not an awful lot on there at the moment, but it is growing and it is filling up. You can kind of think of it as like an exclusive minimalist modular experience. But genuinely, your support is very much appreciated. It keeps the patch cables untangled and the ideas flowing. So thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. It really does mean a lot. But let's get back to the video, shall we? Cheerio. So in pondering this question, I kind of started thinking about how you could categorize arts into two different groups, which in my own thoughts, I started to call one group spatial arts and the other group temporal arts. And I'm not sure that those are the best words to describe them, but that's what I came up with. So spatial arts being things which actually take up space, physical space, material objects. So, you know, that could be like a painting, a sculpture, photography, so actual physical objects that you can see, touch, have and hold and so on. Whereas temporal arts are things which take up time. So like a piece of music lasts for a certain amount of time, you listen to it, and once it's finished, then it has ceased. So this will be things like music, theatre, dance, etc. They're all things that you can't have them, you can't hold them, but they exist in time. So spatial and temporal arts. And for the moment, you know, thinking about this, it seems that the public are more receptive to these spatial arts, things that they can have and hold, material things more so than temporal things, which I guess a lot of temporal arts are based on ideas more so than things. Now, obviously, this is not. I'm not trying to make any sort of generalization here, or you know, create any divide between people. It's just a casual observation, I guess. But I would, and the observation is this: that perhaps, unless you're looking at the very bottom end and the very top end, we can exclude those. But if you're looking in the middle layer of people, it seems that there are more opportunities for people in that middle layer to actually earn a living from their art, from people who deal or work in spatial type arts rather than temporal type arts. So specifically thinking about, you know, people selling paintings and sculptures and photography and so on, as opposed to people selling music, maybe even people working in dance or theatre, where the opportunities for them to earn a living from that thing are actually, unless they, you know, hit the real high levels of that discipline, the opportunities for them to actually earn a living are a lot less than the opportunities for people who are working in spatial arts. Now again, I don't mean this to be any kind of like criticism or anything like that. It's just an observation, and maybe this observation is related more to not the arts themselves, but to the public and how the public perceive these things. So if you are somebody and you are looking to have some art in your home, then or you're looking to spend money on art, then you're probably going to spend that money on something physical, because you can have it in your home, it can decorate your home, it can make your home seem more pleasant, pleasant place to live in, and so on. So you can go to whatever whatever store, and you can probably buy a print of such and such artist or whatever, and you can hang it on your wall and you can be happy with it. Or you can even go to you can go and find an artist and have them paint a picture for you, and or a photographer and so on, and have that on your wall. Whereas I think people are less likely to spend money on going to buy music from a person, or going to shows or grassroots performances and so on. And that's not to say that people don't do this, because there are obviously people that do enjoy going out to watch music and so on, but it seems that is in the minority. So it seems that there is in the public there is an unequal valuation of these different types of art. Now, of course, you could argue that, so for example, like music, that does, or there is the opportunity for that to become spatial as well, because you could buy a record, or you could buy a CD, which is a physical object that takes up space, and you can put that on your shelf and look at it, and it's nice and it's there, and then when you want to listen to it, you take it down and put it on and listen to it. But of course, we all know in this day and age that very few people are actually buying physical products. And so, and that of course is because of streaming and the effect that has had on the music industry. And now if you want to listen to music, the majority of people are going to go to a streaming service. We know that a lot of streaming services, it's very difficult for musicians to make money out of those and to earn a living from that, where they might have before if they were actually selling physical copies, dependent on how that works. Again, that's not always a guaranteed source of income. But that opportunity to sort of physicalize music has kind of been destroyed over the last 20 years or so, or however long streaming's been around. And perhaps, if the equivalent happened to dance or theatre, would we see the same thing there? That there would be a decline in people attending dance and theatre shows and so on, because they would be able to access that material via streaming services. So modular synth kind of sits in this sort of this position, because obviously modular synth is a very physical thing. If you are the person making and using the module, you're very physical in terms of interacting with it. But ultimately, if you're going to create music and you want people to listen to that, then you are entering into a temporal realm. You create the music, you put it out there, people listen to it, and so the chances of making a living from music, if you're a modular synth artist, are probably quite slim, as they are for any type of music in this day and age. And again, there's this. It's possible that if you are a spatial artist, that you could sell and exhibit and rent studio space to sell your work, whereas I don't think you will be able to do that as a musician, or as a modular synth person, or whatever type of music it is that you're creating. And so this kind of got me thinking, is there some way to rematerialize music beyond just having CDs or records or whatever, that would instill some kind of additional value that an audience or the general public might appreciate, and allow musicians to over time to actually earn a living from what they do in a similar way that painters or photographers might also do. And I was trying to think, how could you do that? Because obviously you still can, you still can get your music onto a record, onto CD and whatever. But I don't think in this day and age, I don't think that is viable form of materialization, because streaming exists and it has kind of destroyed that path. So if you are wanting to, create something that's going to have more value than just the music as it is, then there must be other ways to sort of materialize the music. And I don't really know what you could do there. It could be, it could be some kind of like sculptural interface perhaps, or maybe even producing some kind of score or like graphic scores or something that you can sell with the music as a work of art in its own right. physical artifacts that are related to the performance. I don't know, maybe you could sell like a patch cable with an autograph on it or something like that. I don't know at this point, but it has kind of got me thinking if there are some ways to add some kind of physicality to music that will sort of encourage people to want to support musicians and actually purchase the music rather than just streaming it for free online. And so, you know, is it possible to kind of reclaim some sort of space where some of these temporal arts, of which music and of which modular synth is part of, and, you know, actually have some kind of like tangible, valuable material objects that we can tie in with music and people might actually want to purchase. So yeah, I guess at this stage, this is just kind of like a, you know, a forming idea, and I'll be really interested to see what other people's thoughts are on this. So, you know, let me know as ever in the comments. But yeah, you know, do you think it is true? Is it a true observation that I don't want to use the word easy, because I don't think in any stretch of the imagination is it easy to be any kind of artist in this day and age. But are there more opportunities for artists that are creating physical work? Do audiences and the general public view that type of art differently to art that exists as a temporal thing? And if that is the case, what kind of methods or what kind of ways could we use to actually, you know, change the way that people view temporal arts and add value to them, beyond just creating records or CDs or whatever? Really interested to hear your thoughts on this. As I say, I haven't really got answers to these questions in my mind. It's just something that I've been sort of thinking about, and you know, I think it could be something that's quite interesting to explore further in the future, but I just don't know what that will be at the moment. So thank you very much for listening to me ramble on for the last 20 minutes or whatever it's been. I hope you found this interesting, and if you have, then please hit the like button and also hit the subscribe button. And yeah, I think that's about it for today. So I will see you in the next video. Thanks for tuning in. Cheerio.